Thank you for being here.
You're welcome, that's quite all right, my pleasure, you're welcome, fuck off.
Like many of you, this has literally been, not figuratively, the cause of my life.
What? Sex? What caused my life was quite literally sex, Joe. And it's certainly not what drives my politics. Oh wait, you didn't mean cause, literally. You meant cause, literally. Okay, just as long as we're being clear and succinct before we claim we're being literal.
Because whether we're talking about the denial of educational benefits for women and opportunities here or around the world.
No such thing exists here, Joe. Around the world, there are countries which deny an education to the poor. Here, as in the West, we only discriminate against males. It is illegal to deny an education to a female student on the grounds that an equally qualified male student deserves it more. It is perfectly legal and even standard practice to deny an education to a male student on the grounds that an equally qualified female student deserves it more. They're called quotas, Joe. Systematic, institutional discrimination against males. But yes, there are developing regions on the planet where they systematically deny education to poor females as well as poor males. What do you suggest we do about those bothersome strips of land, Joe? Should we bomb the fuck out of them? And then when millions of their most abused and unwanted men get ejected from the place, we'll just find somewhere for them to live in Europe. And if they want to institute Sharia law and deny an education to girls as well as boys, then by golly, I guess that's just their culture, and we can't question it. Right, Joe? You start by insisting boys be discriminated against, because otherwise misogyny, and you finish by insisting girls be discriminated against as well, because otherwise Islamophobia. So I don't give a fuck how you're wording this, Joe. Your actions result in nothing but a regressive, oblivious circling of the drain. But I don't think you're doing any of this on purpose, Joe Biden. I think you're just an exceptionally dense human being. Not an exceptionally dense vice president, but way off the chart for a normal human.
Whether it's the notion that participation in political leadership is out of the reach of my daughters and granddaughters.
Or Sarah Palin.
Whether the notion that economic empowerment is not something that every woman is entitled to just as every man.
I cannot find a single individual anywhere in any arm of any media who has ever espoused the notion that women should not be entitled to economic empowerment, or any variation in English of whatever the fuck you mean by economic empowerment.
Whether it's access to capital.
Who is telling you that women shouldn't be allowed cash handling duties, or to own property or start a business? No one is saying this, Joe. Absolutely bumfuck no one is saying women don't deserve to be leaders and entrepreneurs. Now, are you going to stop swatting these imaginary fairies of fiscal misogyny and actually address something that's happening anywhere in the fucking real world, Joe?
Or whether it is physical violence.
Unexpected entry in the category of economics, Joe. Is that it? Was that your non sequitur segue from one unfounded assertion to the next? Now that we've completely established that invisible economic misogynists are an issue we need to tackle, let's move on to the invisible physical abusers.
It's all about power. No, it really is. Even the sexual assault is about the abuse of power.
Yes, when a woman abuses a child using her vagina, it's about power. And when a woman abuses a man using the hijacked emergency services and the misinformed court system, it's about power. Everything is power, because power is energy and energy is all things. It's a rather fatuous thing to say, isn't it, Joe?
Ultimately, we have to give women and girls a greater voice.
I'm not going to give you my voice, ladies. You can't have it. I mean, Joe here is convinced that his voice is bigger than yours, so he's going to carry you across the river on the shoulders of his mighty man voice. But I'm not going to. I'm going to leave you to figure it out for yourself, with nothing but your own voice. I might, if I'm feeling generous, teach you how to fish, but I won't just give you a fish. Or a bicycle.
But that's not enough.
It's almost as though it never is. Weird, that.
They have to be assured that their voices will be heard.
Then you'd best stop speaking on their behalf. Joe, and you'd better stop telling them they have smaller voices than you. Learned helplessness is not usually the best way to develop one's voice.
I have been raised to believe what is true.
Really? I've been raised to assess what is true, rather than just believe it. My parents were non-religious sort of science geeks. They didn't teach me to believe in a series of nonsensical mantras. They taught me to observe the world and assess what is probable. But congratulations, Joe. You were blessed with a family who made it much easier for you. They just told you the thing you have to believe is true, no matter what the facts or the evidence point to. So there's absolutely no way in hell that the next thing you're going to say is in any way not true.
There's not a single solitary thing, not a single solitary thing that a man can do that a woman cannot do as well.
God's going to put a cancer in the butthole. God's going to put a cancer in the butthole of every sodomite. Every sodomite's butthole will get cancer in the butthole.
There's not a single solitary thing.
It'll burn and burn and burn. They won't be able to sit down because of the burning in their butthole.
Not a single solitary thing.
He can't sit down. He's got a burning in his butthole. He's got a fire. He's got a flame coming out of his butthole.
That a man can do that a woman cannot do as well.
God's going to have a flame coming out of your butthole. You're going to have a flame coming out of your butthole.
By the way, I mean not a single thing.
If you thought that AIDS was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet until you see the flaming butthole.
That's not hyperbole.
Your butthole will be flaming, and you will not be able to sit down until you have a flame coming out of your butthole. And there'll be people walking around all over America with flames coming out of their butthole. And everyone who takes it up the rear, everyone who has a penis injected in his butthole, when that penis comes out, the flame will start burning.
I mean it in a literal sense. There's not a single...
Because ain't nobody gonna stick no penis in that flame.
...solitary thing.
That flame will be an eternal flame coming out of the butthole of every sodomite. Flame coming out of the butthole.
Not a single...
flame coming out of your butt.
...solitary thing.
That man pulls that penis out of you, a flame is going to come out, and nobody will ever stick a penis in your butthole again because it will be on fire. You ain't seen nothing till you see the flame coming out of T.D. Jake's butt.
I mean in a literal sense.
Lightning bug.
Every single solitary thing.
Got a flame coming out of his butt. And all flames shooting out of their behinds. You're going to see the power of God. Flame of fire is going to come out their buttholes.
Every single solitary thing
will have a flame coming out of their butt.
a man can do, a woman can do as well.
You women have a flame coming out of your vagina. You're going to have a flame shooting out of your vagina.
You know, you can always tell the women, I can't see it, so these lights are so bright, I don't know what the...
And amen.
그럼 다음에 다시 만나요.
I had to take a break just now. My face was actually hurting. Okay, Joe. Is there anything a woman can do that a man can't do? If your answer is no, the same goes for... then what you just said was naught but empty, patronizing praise. If your answer is yes, there are things women can do that men can't do, but there's nothing a man can do that a woman can't do, then you are a female supremacist, Joe. That's the ingredients of that. If you believe women have unique value and ability, but you believe men do not have unique value and ability, then you are telling me, literally to the letter, Joe, that you believe men are inferior and or unnecessary. And don't try to AIDS pig your way out of this. Either you admit to the logical conclusion of your beliefs, Joe, or you take back what you just said. I'm not sure what your answer would be to that question. I'm guessing it's women can have children and men can't. Yeah, and because of sort of in vitro test tube baby business, it's true that a woman can have a baby without a man. So when we've invented artificial wombs, Joe, when it becomes equally true that a man can have a child without a woman, will you then hold your hand up and say, okay, it's different now. There is indeed nothing a woman can do that a man can't? Will you do that, Joe? Or, perchance, will you do everything in your power to ban artificial wombs? Because misogyny, of course. Naturally, in vitro fertilization isn't misandry. No, that's just proof that women can do what men can't do. This is just a thought experiment, Joe. You'll be long dead by then. But just see how the pattern works. Men cannot get scholarships because the government is giving them to women. Men cannot raise their own children because the government is giving them to women. Men cannot even masturbate without lubricant because the government allowed the confiscation of a vital piece of their skin. Men can't have unilateral birth control. Men can't have heterosexual intercourse without being subject to a maximum fine of 18 years wage slavery. Many men can't vote without being subject to sacrificing their lives for the state. Women can do all of these things, but men cannot because the government insists on it. This is the pattern, Joe. There are many things women can do that men can't do because the government keeps making it illegal for men to do those things. And you're the vice fucking president and you're gloating about it. It's like you've got a boy and a girl, you chain the boy to the ceiling by his cock, and you let the girl drive a Batmobile up and down the boulevard. And then you go, look how much more capable the girl is! Fuck you, Joe. Fuck everything about you. You are a deluded sadomasochist, and you're trying to infect the world with your disease. Maybe something happened in your past that turned you into a trembling dog's body who does whatever women ask of him, but that's none of my business. You can be as sadomasochistic as you like, but please do not governmentally enforce it on the people who are not so inclined. How about giving men back their children and their bodies and their reproductive rights? Then we can address whatever the shitting fuck you're on about, Joe. Maybe when the government stops deliberately ruining men's lives at every money-grubbing opportunity, then I might take any of this wet Disney shite of yours in the least bit seriously.
You don't have to wonder. By the way, you know it. You know it immediately.
Why have I stopped you there, Joe? Why have I isolated that section? Let's hear it again.
You don't have to wonder. By the way, you know it. You know it immediately.
You don't have to wonder, you just know. Immediately. People like this are not fit for politics, folks. People like this are not even fit to sit in a tent dressed in pigskins wanking onto a crystal ball. I don't know why you put up with it.
And in almost every case where you find that the man you're working with truly respects you, take a look. It's probable
that he's not a feminist.
He has a strong mother. It's probable he had a sister. It's probable he surrounded himself and was surrounded from the time he was a kid with women who were strong.
So, if a man does not respect you, it's more likely that he was raised by a single father. Is that true, Joe? Is that consistent with the data? All those neighborhoods where everything is a single father household. Those are the dodgy areas, are they? Are you lying, Joe? Are you telling the exact opposite of the truth? The truth being that the only things single mother families excel at producing are feminists, rapists, drug addicts, unemployed people, and other single mother families. This heavily implies, Joe, that the single greatest predictor for a healthy, productive, respectful member of society is the presence of both parents. And the single greatest predictor for an unhealthy, antisocial, criminal member of society is the absence of male role models, especially fathers. And this, Joe, this truth that is as demonstrable in statistics as it is by observing the activities of any given neighborhood, this obvious truth, Joe, is the exact fucking opposite of what you're saying. You need to stop lying, Joe. I don't know how we help these people, but I do know how we hurt them, and it includes lying. Stop lying. Children do not learn respect just from the presence of a single kind of human being, you sick fucking supremacist shithead. They learn respect from the presence of as many kinds of people as possible. It's like you're telling us the best way to teach children not to be racist is by letting white people raise them. It's all black people. It doesn't follow, Joe. It's at very best a non sequitur, and at worst the dribbling groans of an unwavering genetic supremacist, poorly disguised as a virtue signal. And it's a lie, Joe. According to all the data, what you're saying is a lie. I know you're a politician, but please consider not lying quite so fucking much.
The reason I bother to mention that is, this isn't just about freeing women. If we free women with the same opportunity, we free men. We free humanity.
If we free women, we also free men. So what if we free men? That would be misogyny. Okay, so the only way to free men is by freeing women. And the only way to free women is by freeing women. The freedom of men is not included in our strategy or recognized in our vocabulary. When you help women, you are helping everyone. But when you help men, you're hurting everyone. Okay. No, yeah, everything makes sense here. This is definitely not female supremacy. This is equality. It just doesn't include men.
We make it all better. We really do. That is not hyperbole. That is a fact.
You are fucking terrible at everything, Joe Biden. Nothing you've said here is fact. It's not hyperbole either. It's all been vacuous blowhardery and the occasional outright lie. You're making everything worse because applause and votes are more important to you than making anything better. It's 8 years later and John McCain isn't dead, folks. You were worried over nothing about Sarah Palin getting her finger on the button, and look who you ended up with. Sarah Palin's problem was she's too incompetent to lie properly, but this guy's brilliant at it. He's watering the beanstalk that keeps you suspended in upside down land, and you're loving it. He's replaced every truth with the corresponding utter hog turd, and he can recite it all without blinking. There is nothing Palin could possibly have done that would be more damaging to women and minority communities than the toxic snake oil this cunt is talking. But fuck it, right? Go watch American Gladiators, etc.
You know that Chinese expression?
If you give a man a fish, if you give a woman a bicycle,
women hold up half the sky.
That's not an expression by some anonymous Chinaman, Joe. That is a quote from Chairman Mao. Now, I could sit here and argue with Chairman Mao, but I don't know how far I can be bothered doing your job for you, Joe.
And as I speak around the world about abuse in the countries in which I'm visiting...
Might that include China? If you ask me, their problem is they proclaim that women hold up half the sky, when in reality, only men are legally required to hold up their entire family, generation above and below. The only way to prevent all those dead baby girls is to disestablish that law. Is that going to be your advice to the good people in charge of China? Stop legally forcing men to support families they didn't choose. Because you must know, China's response will be, how about you stop doing it first, America? Lead the way, Europe. Whoops, yeah, there goes your economy. We know how this works, dickhead Western devil. Either you're very incompetent tricksters and we're not falling for it, or you're massive hypocrites who need to check your own shit before you go telling other civilizations what to do.
Who said the cardinal sin of all sins is for a man to raise his hand to a woman or child. That is the ultimate physical abuse of power.
What power, Joe? Are you telling me men have a power that women don't have? Are you telling me there are things men can do that women can't do? 'Cause...
I mean in a literal sense. Every single solitary thing a man can do, a woman can do as well.
I know you told us like 4 fucking times in a row, and you were very, very strident in the unquestionable literal truth there, that men do not have any power that women do not have. But golly gosh, fuck the horse and shove a crowbar up my ass, Joe. You went and flat out fucking contradicted yourself already. Women are just as capable as men, but men are not allowed to hit them. Because after all, women are less capable than men. How does this make sense? Joe, how do you shit all over men but still hold them accountable for everything? Just so you can lie to women and infantilize them at the same time. How in all the fucks do you sleep at night? You have completely, philosophically contradicted yourself in a very short space of time, Joe. There is no escaping it. You are either deliberately lying, or you are the brainless mouthpiece of people who are deliberately lying. It's people like you who give me hope for the millennial generation. Because evidently they're not the ones who invented this heartless authoritarian bigotry. It was around in the fucking baby boomers and beyond. But the millennials might be the ones who fix it. Watch the skies.
It's not merely about changing the law and making it better. It's about changing our culture.
Well, then it's none of your ruddy beeswax, is it, Joe? You're a politician. It's your job to change laws. I'm an artist. It's my job to change the culture. So how about you fuck off out of my safe space, do your job as a politician, and how about give men their children back? And their reproductive rights, and their due process, and their genital skin. That actually is what you're here for, Joe. You are one of the people whom American men are supposed to talk to if they want these rights returned to them and their sons. And all you can say is we need to change the spirit of the age so that everyone is equal and men are the only people getting hit. You're not just wasting everyone's time. You are filling everyone's time with overtly bigoted lies, Joe. Sit down. Leave your fucking post. You are grossly underqualified as a fucking shoe shiner, let alone a statesman. Go home, hold your family close, and tell them you failed them. You failed your country, and you failed at life. I hope their reaction is understanding and non-violent. You deserve disgrace, Joe, but you never deserve that.
They're raped again and again.
Joe.
And again and again by the system.
Joe, that's not an appropriate thing to say to anyone, anywhere. Raped by the system. Do you seriously not understand how undermining that is for people who've been raped by penises or vaginas?
The single most important thing, that it's not her fault.
But she raped me, Joe. If it wasn't her fault, then why did it happen?
Period.
No, that was my blood.
You've been raped.
Truth be told, Joe, that's none of your business. But men do get raped by women. Men's penises do get raped by women's vaginas. But no one sees it as a problem, legally speaking. I mean, they see the raped men as problematic when they look like they might rape someone. I mean, when men even get falsely accused of rape, we throw them in prison. I mean, when women actually rape, we give them our tax money so they can raise the rape baby and rape it. And then when the rape baby grows up and rapes someone, we throw him in prison. And we end up with millions of prisoners whom we forced to manufacture our army munitions and whatnot. It's a hell of a racket, I tell you what. That's how we can afford to dismantle the slave trade. We found another way. Just pretend women never commit violence against men. And boom, you have a never-ending pipeline of males gushing directly from the home to prison. And then you blame it all on your political opponents, because reasons, and double boom, you have a fast track to the apocalypse on your hand. I could not envisage a quicker, more efficient way to undo thousands of years of progress. Genius, guys. The genius of the crowd, you might say.
If a man jumped out from an alley and dragged you in the alley and brutally raped you, he could be charged with first-degree rape.
Joe, the difference between sex in an alleyway with a stranger being rape and sex with an acquaintance in a hotel room being rape is this irksome little detail called reasonable doubt. Is that what you're struggling to work around here?
But if you went out on a date with him and you knew him and he did the same exact thing.
The same exact thing? What, he jumped out of an alleyway on a date? Go home, Joe. You're very old.
He could only be charged with second-degree rape.
Joe, do you understand why murdering a stranger is a more serious crime than murdering a loved one? You know why a person who will rape absolutely anyone is more dangerous than a person who will only rape close acquaintances? I mean, the answer's in the question, isn't it, Joe? It's a needs of the many situation. Leaving aside how much easier the former is to prove than the latter, even if we take proven and convicted examples in both cases, a person who rapes people they know is a scumbag who should go to prison for a long time, but a person who pulls people off the street and rapes them should be studied under laboratory conditions to figure out what the fuck happened. Do you see? They're both dangerous, but one is a full tier more dangerous than the other. A species of bear who won't eat you until the third date is not a bear I consider as dangerous as the bears who will just eat the fuck out of you on sight. Yeah? This is one of those reasons we divide things into degrees. Because some people are fucking animals, and some people are just complete cunts. Notice nothing I said in this clip was gendered. No gendered pronouns in this paragraph at all. So if you heard any of that as gendered, if you were only picturing one gender of perpetrator in relation to what I was saying, good luck dealing with your prejudice. But for now, welcome back to Earth. Those people do it too. Kom dan förklara.
Built into the system.
What due process?
Our system.
Innocence of proven guilty?
From our English common law.
The Magna Carta? You want all this scrapped, do you, Joe? Might that rub up against any of your amendments there?
Is a notion. If you knew him, you must have somehow been partially responsible.
No, Joe, it means we don't convict people of crimes unless there's evidence of their guilt beyond reasonable doubt. I'm very sorry if you have a problem with that, but I think I speak for most Americans, most Europeans, and myself when I say fuck off with it up your ass, Joe!
You all know what the phrase rule of thumb means?
Yes. It's an imperial measuring term. Like 2 fingers? Or a 12-hand horse?
Back in the late 1300s, in England.
Oh, it's our fault again, is it? Fucking hell. Maybe you should secede or something.
Women who were considered chattels.
Chattel! You have no idea how stupid you sound, do you?
Not fundamentally unlike the horse or the cow or the child or whatever.
Child. Let's just piece this together, Joe. Children were treated like livestock, but men were not. Boys were treated like slaves, but men were not. And as we all know, it doesn't matter what you teach a boy before the age of 10. Whatever it is, he'll just snap out of it and forget everything and become entirely independent-minded as soon as his balls drop. This is something we all know about humans, regardless of gender. If you brainwash them into pathological dependency at an early age, they will remain in that state for the rest of their lives. Give me the child until he is 7 and I will give you the man. It's been understood since Aristotle and beyond. But you are throwing it all away, Joe. You're pretending it's not true. You have to, in order to assert that boys were treated like chattel but men were not. This is impossible, Joe. According to what we can ascertainably know about human neurology, it is impossible. Stop lying, Joe! Stop saying demonstrably impossible things. Again, I know it's your job to lie, but this is ridiculous.
Was it a man could no longer chastise his wife with a rod bigger than the circumference of his thumb?
That's not true, Joe. Not even slightly. Spend 10 fucking seconds looking it up, Joe. Even Wikipedia will provide you with a correction to this apocryphal, scaremongering rumour that authoritarian fuckjocks like you use as an excuse to enact real-life, present-day discrimination against men. That's what the Violence Against Women Act is. It's retribution against men for shit you made up in your head about an impossible, upside-down, bizarro version of history where somehow the laws the state came up with to outlaw men beating their wives were proof that violence against women was tolerated. You are ill, Joe. Very ill. Sit down. Watch the shopping channel. I'll get you some warm cocoa and a towel, alright? Blink once for yes, Joe. Alright, now put the thumb down. Put it down real slow.
That notion, to a much less degree, still survives in a significant number of countries around the world.
Now you're lying about other countries. It's always those pesky men from far away and long ago who fuck it up for the men here and now, isn't it? It's always the men who aren't here to defend themselves, who are your unquestionable reason to discriminate against the men who are.
Grab my hand and pull me close.
No, Joe, this one's on you.
I said if a woman in this audience got up, stripped down, stark naked, and walked over to the United States Capitol, she has a right to be arrested for indecent exposure?
Best right ever.
But no man, even in that circumstance, has a right to touch her.
Then how do they arrest her?
No man has a right to touch her.
Oh, that's right. I am no man. And that was a good rape.
Period.
On this occasion, it's rather difficult to tell.
Period. Period. Period.
Joe, let me count the ways. That's funny. Even if you just meant ... that does not mean the same thing as ... 1 dot means end of story. 3 dots means to be continued. What are you trying to imply with the 3 periods? Why do I feel like Demolition Man right now?
Did you have an orgasm?
Focus, Joe, focus. Eyes front, Joe, I'm right here.
Well, I didn't hear no.
Good one. I don't think you can hear anything, Joe. Except when they applaud. Then you can just about hear a faint shadow of a child's laughter. That's why you do this. That's why you'll do anything for rapturous applause. You'll tell whatever lie will earn you those high-pitched squeals of approval. Because it's the only thing that permeates the matted lattice of surgical plasters that used to be your eardrums.
It is rape. Period.
Dude, why don't you just use the English vernacular?
It is full stop. Rape.
It works better, doesn't it? See, once you stop lying about ye olde English way of doing things, it doesn't look so bad, does it?
There is no excuse when a higher institution of learning failed to protect a precious child that we entrust to them.
Yes, there is an excuse, Joe, and that's that institutions of higher learning are not supposed to treat their students like children. They are supposed to treat them like young adults. 18 fucking years old is not a child, Joe. I think we found the problem. I think we found the dark heart of the problem, and it's you. You referred to college students just now as children. Like it was nothing. And I think, Joe, I think you were referring specifically to the female students. You will always see women as children, won't you? No matter how old they get.
But if there's guys in the office, you guys in the audience.
Yes, hello, I think that's me.
We've got to overcome this social discomfort of calling out the misogyny that happens.
Yeah, I'm doing it now, Joe. I'm calling out your misogyny. You see women as eternal children, as forever incomplete adults. And your only approach to parenting them is to constantly tell them they could get raped any minute by the monster under the bed, and there's nothing they can do about it without men's help. I don't know what misogyny is, but that sounds like it, Joe. I don't know why you want to infantilize and terrify women like this, Joe. Like I said, none of my business, but I fail to see how it makes anyone happier or healthier. On the contrary, Joe. So don't forget the fuck off option, yeah?
Those of us who find this action reprehensible, the talk reprehensible, you have to be heard.
Aye, sir. Doing it now. At least 10,000 people will hear this. How's that?
You are the ones that are going to impact on changing the culture.
Unless most of our audience gets mysteriously unsubscribed.
As Martin Luther King reminded us, the actions of bad people are not our only problem. We also answer the appalling silence and indifference of the good people.
Who are the good people and who are the bad people? And is it your job to morally arbitrate over your citizens like that? You're a public servant, and you are deliberately dividing your populace and instructing them to divide themselves into the morally good and the morally bad based on the kind of jokes they tell. You're a public servant, and you are performing the duties of a despotic, religiously fanatical tyrant, Joe. Now would be a good time to pin down what we really mean by bad person.
Now, as you'll observe, I'll get roundly criticized for this speech, as I always do, and I welcome it.
Cool, so you're going to keep the comments and ratings open, and I'm not going to get any false flags or bogus copyright disputes. That would be a breakthrough.
I hope all of you, if you haven't done so, will take 5 minutes to go online today and take the pledge yourself.
Patreon.com/doctor. Yeah, I can resist.
Because our actions reverberate around the world in countries where women are still treated as chattels.
How so, Joe?
Where brutalities like honor killing.
You mean like that thing that just happened in Orlando?
Forced and early marriage.
You mean like shotgun weddings? Someone being forced into marriage at the tip of a rape accusation. Unthinkable.
Female genital mutilation.
Imagine that, Joe! Fuck me!
Are common occurrences.
I mean, can you even conceive of any of this shit happening in your country? I mean, to the people who matter.
There is never, let me say this again, never, never, never a cultural justification for dehumanizing another human being.
Except Islam. And feminism.
Never, 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 never.
Jesus, it happened again. Someone turn the crank!
Everybody in the court is in a coordinated community responding and embracing the notion that we can end this. We're not going to end violence.
No, we're not even going to try to end violence against men. Or children. Actual children, Joe. I don't mean 21-year-old cry-bully college girls. I mean actual underage, prepubescent children. They don't have a Violence Against Them Act either. Men and children can apparently fend for themselves, and we need to keep them separate while we work on preventing any violence from ever affecting women, no matter how much violence they inflict on others.
But we can end the attitude that somehow violence against women is of a different nature.
Agreed, Joe. So, in the absence of a Violence Against Children Act, or a Violence Against Men Act, we sure as fuck don't need a Violence Against Women Act. Unless we're just using it as a cloak of false compassion under which we're sneaking a load of authoritarian censorship laws, finding ever more ingenious ways of getting more and more men into the workhouses. I mean prisons. No, I do mean prisons. They have quotas too. They're the only institutions that have male quotas. Of all the crummy luck, right?
So look, folks, we got to hold our institutions accountable.
Agreed. Let's get to it. I'll get rid of the academic patriarchists, and you can get rid of the academic feminists. Finished. How you doing, Joe?
I want to thank you, and I mean that. That's not hyperbole. I mean that literally.
Joe! Mate, I'm not convinced you know what either of those things mean. When you think you're being literal, you're just being hyperbolic. When you think you're being hyperbolic, you're just lying.
We will have succeeded when not a single woman who is violated ever asks herself the question, what did I do?
So you want to erase women's memories of every muscle they move and every important detail that might help catch criminals and prevent rape. You want to prevent victims from learning anything, and in the meantime you want to prevent the prevention of rape.
What did I do?
Excellent question, Joe. I hope that's the line you get stuck on when you die. It's your only chance of squeezing the camel through the eye of that needle there.
And we will succeed it when not one man who raises a hand or takes a violent action against a woman is able to say with any credibility in his own mind, well, she deserved it.
All right. Now you know who to send in to do the next mass shooting, folks. As someone who no one's allowed to raise a hand to under any circumstances. I say next mass shooting. God only knows how many female Muslims have committed terrorist acts. There's no way would ever make it onto the news.
That's the change of the culture that has to take place. You can get that done. We need you badly. Thank you very, 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 never, never, ever, never, never, very, 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 very,
AIDS.
very, very much.
And amen.